Hello friends, welcome to CEC Live Lectures. Dear friends, today in this session we are going to talk on one of the most important and interesting topics. Our topic of discussion is on global environment issues. Friends, for the discussion on the topic, we have with us in our studios Dr. Amna Mirza. Dr. Amna Mirza is Assistant Professor in Department of Political Science, SPM College, University of Delhi. Dr. Amna Mirza has authored numerous books and she is an active professor, a dynamic professor who participates, who exchanges information, and she believes that whatever she has attained through her academic career, it should be transmitted, it should be disseminated to the students. So dear friends, we are going to take advantages from Dr. Amna Mirza's experience once again. Friends, if you have any question pertaining to today's topic, feel free to talk to us through our toll-free number. Our number is 1800110430. I repeat, our number is 1800110430. All dear friends are requested to call in the last 10 minutes of the lecture, as well as you are kindly requested to ask questions pertaining to the topic only. Now, I would like to welcome our guest, Dr. Amna Mirza, once again. Hello, ma'am. Welcome to the lecture.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the lecture where we will be discussing global environmental issues. Now today, environment has become a non-traditional security dimension in the realm of international relations. Its threats, its challenges and opportunities confront across all borders. Today all nations, be it rich or the poor, the ones from north or from the ones from the south, they feel the impact of global environmental issues. Let us take them one by one and then we will take our discussion forward. Global warming. Yes, this very first term comes to our mind as it has emerged as one of the most important environmental issues, that is making new challenges, new issues for humanity. Let us look at what has happened in the past 5 decades. Today we are in 2018, but when we look at past 5 decades, climate has witnessed great changes to the level that plants and animals have found it hard to accept the vagaries of climate. One of the issues that is important here is that how natural resources are being misused or overused. This affects the balance of our ecosystem and creates a position of disequilibrium. We are debating global environmental concerns, but a significant topic, a significant thinker that we must take into account when we discuss it, our own Mahatma Gandhi ji, who said that there is enough in the world for our need, but not for our greed. This is why what we see, this climate change is a product of human greed to create disequilibrium in the ecosystem. The climate change is leading for drastic changes in the weather conditions. Let's look at once again at our own country, India. Today, we are seeing that how monsoons are erratic. Today, we are seeing that how there are changes in the climate, be it extremely hot summers or extremely short winters. Now, these descriptive things in nature demand analytical study also. That is, environmental issues may be local, but they have a global connect also. They may be beyond the jurisdiction of national governments, but they have international linkages also. So, global climate change, disintegration of our ozone layer, extreme pollution, complete destruction of the seabed, these are issues which may be having a local influence, but their impact is global too. Let's look at the problem of the greenhouse gases. Now, these gases like methane, ethane, carbon dioxide, they may be because of domestic local consumption. The emissions may be caused because of these domestic local consumption, but these emissions lead to a larger issue, that is depletion of the ozone layer. So this is why when we look at acid rain or we look at the greenhouse gas emission, how it impacts the ozone layer, the release of heat from industrial production and activities, or to even talk about natural disasters, where just because of man's activity, human intervention into the natural ecosystem equilibrium and balance, can these profound effects, which definitely show how we have exploited nature, can this be only dealt at local level? Answer is no. This is why, once again, the first point of our discussion here is that today environment is a significant factor in study of international relations, in analysis of global affairs. Let's look at today there are erratic cyclones, floods, natural calamities that have an impact on different parts of the world. Now today when we look at loss of species, migration of species, or to talk about diseases which cut across borders, pandemics, all these are nothing but just telling us that today concerns of international relations cut across borders. Now look at our own country too, that how today the country witnesses vagaries of rainfalls, vagaries of climate. Earlier this was never so, but this is becoming a fact because of global warming. Let's define global warming. Global warming is a significant concept to understand the idea of climate change of the earth. Global warming is defined as increase in the average temperature of the earth's atmosphere. Now this today is a cause of concern because the average temperature increase of the earth's atmosphere is a sustained increase. Now the earlier global warming was considered perhaps insignificant, but today it has become a major factor of global climate change. The global term of global warming is also used synonymous with terms like, if we can understand here, greenhouse effect, because it is because of increase in the greenhouse gases in the earth's atmosphere that lead to trapping up of more and more sun rays, and this overall increases the temperature of the earth. So therefore global warming is the rise in average temperature to a level which influences the surface of the earth, both at land as well as in water. So let's understand what has happened over the last few hundred years. Yes, average temperatures have increased, and if you can take a wild guess as to how much average temperatures have increased, it is about 0.75 degrees Celsius or 1.4 degree Fahrenheit. Yes, to this level temperatures have increased, and these increase in temperature definitely leads to accumulation of further factors that impact the environment. And to add here, human activities too that have increased manifold, they too impact the environment, and the natural greenhouse effect maintains Earth's temperature at a safe level, making it possible for many humans and other life forms to exist, but that has been disturbed now. Let's look at why our activities have enhanced and increased. Since industrial revolution, man has witnessed into new avenues, and this is why one of the victims of this foray of venturing out into new avenues is our environment. And this is why today there is one clear thought amongst all international relations discussion that global climate has been changing in an unprecedented manner. Carbon dioxide, without carbon dioxide, Earth would be just over 30 degrees Celsius colder. But because this carbon dioxide, which was a productive gas, its overuse have led to destruction in the atmosphere. Let us look at what is happening in the realm of agriculture and other arenas. Now, spread of human civilization led to cutting down trees. Now, with this deforestation, of course, the balance of gases in the natural atmosphere and environment was disturbed. We dig out carbon out from under the earth and burn it to run factories, drive cars, generate electricity, airplanes, make cement, use it for transportation of goods. And in all these activities, world spends so much of money and other, but this carbon dioxide from burning of fossil fuels definitely leads to new issues of environmental concerns. Carbon dioxide gets added in the atmosphere, cutting trees, burning wood, and all these definitely leads to greenhouse gas effect. Now, with this greenhouse gas effect, environmental issues too develop new issues that we see, that be it be trees, soil, grass, land, everything is under the impact, because one significant idea to understand atmosphere and environment is that we are in an ecosystem. Nothing exists in isolation. We are all correlated. There are natural cycles, and within these natural cycles, this definitely leads to new issues, because when one factor is exploited manifold, other factor is disturbed too much, what happens? That balance gets challenged. And this is why, if you look at the carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere have crossed 400 ppm for the year. I am talking about 2015, and this was the first time in human history. Now, the blanket of ozone is further diluted, and this because of this dilution of blanket of ozone, we trap more heat. Now, with this trapping of more heat, one significant factor that comes forward here is the issue of our earth heating up more and more. Now, global warming, you have to see that if it is a challenge today, how much warmer we have become. We have to see that between 1961 to 1990, if I take a country like India as an example, today let's see, we have on an average witnessed that average of all seasons in this time framework has increased, and you see that to century 2001 to 2010, the average rising temperature has risen to 25.51 degrees Celsius. So, what you see here is that today days are witnessing vagaries, and these vagaries definitely are correlated with factors that are connected. This is why we say today environment is a non-traditional security dimension. We never thought that environmental issues would pose a challenge to global political and international economy, but today the world is witnessing challenges of environment because local is connected to the global. This is why when we say that the earth's average temperature is rising, or when we see that there is melting of ice at the Arctic, so these are issues that have not come up on their own, but they tell us that too much of human intervention in environmental issues is a cause of concern. And what we see here is that this gap between the vagaries of climate issues or weather conditions, all these gaps tell us one thing, that human environmental relation is a significant factor of understanding relationship of global environmental concerns. And all these things, that be it be the amount of sunlight the earth receives, the amount of sunlight the earth reflects, retention of heat by the atmosphere, amidst all these scientific cyclical process, be it be evaporation and condensation of water vapor, we have to see that consequently the atmospheric system of the earth radiates the heat, and this radiation and all other factors, they all point out that how human intervention with the environment per se has led to disequilibrium. We also have to see that when we talk about environment as a factor, it also tells us that today international politics is no more about hard power. Yes, today wars are no more military. Today wars can be like what the wars of environment is that. So, or wars can be like how vagaries of climate affect our health. Today there are rise of pandemics, new kind of diseases because of radiations. Is it less than any war? This is why for any nation to factor itself in the global political power game, you have to take into account the idea of environment and the challenges it is posing. Now, climate change has always been discussed. Even in the past, prediction of climate fluctuations, we used to debate. But if you compare the past and the present climate fluctuations, what you see here is that the study of climate over the past, which was known as paleoclimatology, this study has dominated our analysis for several years. But today what is happening here is that this study is witnessing one definite understanding, be it be melting of glaciers. That is, this phase indicates that the interface of human beings with environment has been of a disturbing level. Now, whenever we try to understand global environmental issues, we see that there have been some amount of significant work that have been done in order to make us understand that what could or what are issues of environment. Let's look at what happens here is, let's look at the contemporary world history. After Second World War, the Cold War starts and the two superpowers are at loggerheads. And amidst these superpower warfare, somewhere Earth is a victim. Rachel Carson's work, if you get a chance, dear students, dear listeners, do attempt to read it, The Silent Spring, way back in the year 1969, tells us that somewhere there is an issue, spring, which is associated with chirping of birds. Somewhere this time, Rachel Carson's work, if we are to understand, spring was silent because the birds were not there. Where were the birds? We see here is that Earth was witnessing change. And let's understand 1998, 1997, 1995, 1990. These years have been known as warmest years in the past 140 years history of the world. And this is why climate change, though it may be seen as a newcomer in international and political environmental agenda, however, today it has become a major policy issue, and if you can take the period, it is since late 1980s. So what we see here is carbon dioxide gas, which is a greenhouse gas. Again, it is being debated that how this heat energy from the sun is increasing Earth's temperature. Now, human environment interference has been always there since time immemorial, be it be nomad hunting for food from the forest. So what we see here is this social human life always involved environment in the use of natural resources, be it be rivers, trees, mountains, worshipping them as divine powers. All of it existed. But sadly, what happens here is that in this realm today, environment is an issue because we have misused. Man has tried to tame the environment in order to serve and work for it. Humans have tried to dominate and control the environment in order to meet their ends. Now, to say that we must give up everything, we must say no to all things, is not the way out. One has to look at global environmental issues in the sense of how we can get together, because see, environmental issues would demand 3 R's: reuse, recycle, and if we can add here, that is reform. See, we are living in the idea of Vasudeva Kutumbakam. That is, the world is like a family. Living in isolation is definitely not the way out. Therefore, we have to realize the significance of attaining a more environmentally conscious. That is the need of the hour. Now, look at what has happened in India. We have adopted after our independence policies that were there, which involved somewhere expensive and extensive exploitation of our natural resources. But at the same time, we have to see time and again we have understood the need for striking a balance with human and environmental interface. Let's understand that today environment is such a significant issue that 1992 the Rio Earth Summit gave the idea of sustainable development. Now, just to say that we must say no to development because there is increase in greenhouse gases, no, that is not the solution. We need development that is in tune with needs of human society, as well as that tries to balance our past, our present, and our future for a judicious environmental balance. But yes, at the same time, this idea of sustainable development makes a plea for reduction in burning of fossil fuels, reduction in deforestation, so that we have a judicious human environmental balance. The idea of sustainable development has been debated, and global world indeed has to think about it, because what we see here is that we are living in an era of globalization. Globalization blurs space-time compression. Today, we are living in a world where what is local is global, and what is global definitely is having local connect. So, be it be burning of fossil fuels or deforestation, excessive use of machinery, all these somewhere are related to globalization, because globalization gives impetus for more connectivity, interdependence, exchange, interchange, and all these exchange and interchange of goods, services, people, one witnesses that there is rise of industry. Now, this rise of industry may at times pose challenges to humans as well as to environment, as we see that we are living in a world which is interdependent. Now, methane is created by human beings during fossil fuel production and use of livestock and rice farming, such as landfills. Nitrous oxides are emitted by using use of synthetic fertilizers for agriculture. So, all these examples, be it be fluorinated gases used in refrigeration, cooling, manufacturing, appliances. What we see here is that the rise of technological dimension rise of innovations in technology and communication definitely led to certain processes which were harmful for human environmental balance. Deforestation, another example, that has become a massive undertaking by humans, and this transforms forests into just farms. This too has had a significant impact on the fragility of our ecosystem. So all these issues, what we see that then globalization was like a double-edged sword. At one point, it did connect us, it did give us new exercise of goods and services, new choice. But at the same time, by increasing the greenhouse effect into the environmental issues and simultaneously reducing the number of trees, all of it, these technological and scientific advancements introduce various activities like, again, to recall, rapid industrialization, modernization of agriculture, urbanization, rise of population in cities. All these activities definitely required our connect with natural resources. And what was the real reason for depletion of environment? That is indiscriminate use of natural resources. And this is why today we are even there together when people are experiencing global warming, climate change. And this is why environment in international relations, global politics is often seen as a public good. That is, we all jointly own it and we all jointly together pay for it. A common man may have not contributed in the industry, in the flushing of waste from industry, in the pollution, but yet we all pay for it. So this is why we see global environmental issues demand collective approach to solve them. Issues are no more local, they have a global connect, and what is global? We cannot be isolated from that at the local level. So this is why we see that environment is a significant topic of debate in international relations. And yes, when we look at air, water, soil getting polluted because of mishandling, what we see here, the need of the hour here is to understand environment in a holistic perspective, to debate how to use our natural resources, be it water, soil, air, in a judicious manner. Besides that, the need of the hour is debates on urbanization, sewage, solid waste disposal, industrialization, surface water, groundwater use, agricultural activities, mining. All these issues demand that we have right regulation and control over the issues of environmental issues that are right now present in global arena. So when we see that today global warming is damaging Earth's climate as well as physical environment, this impact is being felt in different parts of the world. So whenever such a proposition comes forward, we see that this is a joint exercise. We may see that one individual, one unit may be responsible for it, but the cost of it, the impact of it has to be borne by all of us. This is why environment demands a judicious collective approach. And one of the, when you talk about global warming, let's look at the effects. One of the most visible effects of global warming, just understand, is there in newspapers, the melting of Arctic glaciers. Permafrost and sea ice are melting rapidly. This is harming the environment in several ways, be it desertification, increasing melting of snow and ice, sea level rise, ozone depletion and degradation of many other natural resources, stronger hurricanes and cyclones, impact on agriculture, ecosystems, and yes, what you see here is that amidst all this, environment today is getting into a heated discourse of global environmental politics. When we see that today there are norms and regimes that have developed to discuss global environmental issues.
With this note, thank you, and thank you so much for giving us this session on global environmental issues. Dear friends, there is a lot more for you in store. You are just requested to be with us. We'll be back after a short break, and we will be discussing more with you. Thank you for watching us. Hello friends, welcome back to this session. Friends, as you know that today we are talking on global environmental issues in detail, and we believe that you might have gathered lots of information through our previous session, and as promised, here we are again for you to give you more and more of knowledge on the following topic. Friends, for the discussion, we have with us in our studios Dr. Amna Mirza. Dr. Amna Mirza is Assistant Professor in Department of Political Science, SPM College, University of Delhi. Friends, if you have any question in mind, feel free to talk to us through our toll-free number. Our number is 1-800-110-430. I repeat, our number is 1-800-110-430. Now, I would like to welcome our guest, Dr. Amna Mirza, once again. Hello, ma'am. Welcome back.
Hello, listeners. Welcome back once again. So right, we saw at the beginning that how environment is a significant factor in global politics now. We discussed about global environmental issues, be it global warming, climate change, resource scarcity, biodiversity destruction, amongst others. Let's take the discussion forward by understanding how do we combat global warming. Now we know that there is an increasing concern about greenhouse effect and the implications that it can have for not only environment but also socio-economic political level. Now when we look at rise in sea level, the vagaries of climate, geographical shifts in human habitation and agricultural activities, variations in the availability of water resources, loss of wetlands, changes in biodiversity, concerns about all these effects have fostered proposals, ideas in order to make a way out for solutions, perhaps in a way to understand how limitations on human activities can contribute to making a better environment, because increasing human activities are the real factors that are significantly contributing to the cause of global warming. The threat to the environment is the burning of fossil fuels, after all, by the industries, and be it forming the layer of sulfur or nitric acid into the air. All these are because of human activities. So in this way, what we see, environment is under threat. It is dealing with some very serious problems, and this is why it becomes important to understand how can we tackle the process of environmental degradation. Once again, the 3 R's. Of course, I added reform, but let me put in the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. Let's debate them one by one, and these 3 R's are the mantra of solutions for reform of environment, or you can say tackle environmental degradation. We can reduce by using recyclable products instead of disposables. We can reduce the waste which ultimately leads to global warming. We can buy those products from the market which can be recycled, which involves less impact on the environment in terms of products used to manufacture them. Example, plastics. Let's say no to plastics, or perhaps let's use recyclable paper. By recycling half of your household weight, we see that we can somewhere contain carbon dioxide. Then when we look at new kinds of avenues, purchase energy efficient products. Yes friends, be it bulbs, the bulbs that we have in our homes, be it carry bags, be it any kind of material for infrastructure also. Today, each organization, corporate structures are debating energy efficient products, because the most efficient way to reduce global warming is to suggest various measures for energy conservation. So if you're planning to buy a car, choose that one that offers good gas and fuel mileage. If you're planning to purchase home appliances, select that one that consumes less energy amidst the range of energy efficient models. And for example, compact fluorescent bulbs, they are designed to provide more natural looking light while using far less energy than the standard light bulbs. Now all these examples show us one thing, that even today organizations, corporates that cater to consumption goods to people are environmentally conscious, be it cars, be it refrigerators in our kitchen. Each step we make today shall make a difference for efforts to tackle environment. Trees. Now trees are the suppliers of oxygen. It is an undoubted fact that human intervention with the environment led to deforestation. The quest to grab more and more land led to cutting down trees. This is why tree plantation in all regions is needed. We have to pledge for afforestation to reduce the temperature in the environment, because tree plantation is the best way to combat global warming. We all know that trees absorb carbon dioxide and give off oxygen, and this process will definitely lead to absorbing the harmful gases generated by factories, by vehicles, amidst others. Let's discuss other avenues wherein we can contribute to a sustainable environment. Quite often we have to cover shorter distance. Why not prefer walking or taking a cycle? Because this saves gasoline, our fuels, petrol, diesel, and in turn reduces pollution caused by the vehicles. One of the main reasons for climate change is the gases emitted by factories and vehicles, and which severely damages the ozone layer, and ultraviolet rays and other harmful rays from the sun reach out the earth and cause the problem of skin issues amongst others. So we have to see that small steps like this can also contribute to reduction of air pollution and in turn leading to a better environment. Let's debate change in lifestyle. Yes, add insulation to walls, because this can lower the heating cost more than 25%. All these small attempts to cater to environment shall make a big difference. And this is why we see environment is having a global connect with local initiatives. I'm sure you all must have heard about observing the Earth hour. We tell you that for 1 hour, switch off the lights. Why? Because each light that we switch off together as a household, as a unit, percolates down to society. Society percolates down to nation. Nation percolates down to global arena. So all these efforts tell us that environment requires collective effort. Turn down the heat while you're sleeping at night or away during the day. Switch off the geyser and the lights when you're moving out from home. All these moderate attempts definitely make an impact in saving our atmosphere. Replace regular light bulbs with compact fluorescent light, what we say CFL bulbs, because CFL bulbs last 10 times longer also than the conventional ordinary bulbs, and they use 2/3 less energy and give off 70% less heat. Set your water heater at a lower temperature to save energy, or buy low flow shower heads to save hot water. Now all these efforts may be small, but always remember what we say, small is the revolution. Wash your clothes in warm or cold water to reduce your energy consumption. So all these small things, be it saving electricity or turning off lights or trying to get energy efficient products, they are a part of collective thought. They are a part of joint efforts, and they make us remember that ultimately environment requires joint concern. So all these small things tell us that conservation is the need of the hour. Right in the beginning of the lecture that we discussed that how our very own father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi ji, said that there is enough in the world for our needs but not for our greed. So environment concerns require that we match our lifestyle, our way of work for our needs but not for our greeds. Very essential. Share information about recycling and energy conservation with like-minded stakeholders, neighbors, co-workers, take opportunities to encourage public officials, government authorities to establish programs and policies that are good for the environment, that demand the idea of sustainability taken forward to a new realm. So what we see here is that today environment is definitely significant, but it is a complex problem for which you cannot think of solution on a singletarian term. The right to clean and healthy environment is a essential human right, because human life with dignity is not possible if the air, water, soil around you is polluted. Can we imagine a decent life if we are surrounded by loud noise? Answer is no. The planet has bestowed us with healthy environment, but sadly individual actions have made way for destruction of this environment. Today the need of the hour here is to make standards for accountability at individual, state and international level, making environment pollution, global warming and climate change as issues to be dealt with. So be it be industrialization, which leads to ecological disturbances in the country. The modern life that we are living in is about various complexities, and the need of the hour here is to have sustainability, that is maintain balance between life forms and our natural environment. Because our present setup, the globe has witnessed catastrophe of environmental degradation and depletion of natural resources. It is the human being with changing his attitude who can solve the problem, and at the same time by changing our perceptions towards morality of the environment along with the values that we take into account while understanding the real problem of saving the environment for next generation. A mutual coexistence, yes, that is the need of the hour. Now because this mutual coexistence has been very much disturbed by human activity, and the world now is trying hard to defend the environment. Before it is too late, it has become necessary to educate people, create awareness with regard to the environment. The great variety of life on this earth has provided for man's need for over thousands of years, and this is why the diversity of living creatures forms a support system which has been used by each civilization for its growth and development. Biodiversity is that part of nature which includes the differences in genes amongst individuals of a species. This leads to variety and richness of all the plant and animal species at different scales in different regions. So, for example, biological diversity deals with this nature's variety. Let's look at India. From Kashmir to Kanyakumari, we are so diverse in terms of our territory, also in terms of our flora and fauna. Now, these differences could be genetic, it could be natural, or it could be even somehow man-made. But the need of the hour here is that biodiversity, which represents all life, it is essential to ensure that right from Western Ghats to even Eastern Himalayas, our biodiversity is preserved. Today, this biodiversity too is under attack, because what we see here is that today resources are being overused and a great deal of damage has been done to the biodiversity existing on the earth. What could be the reasons? The same: increasing human population, increasing consumption levels, decreasing efficiency of use of our resources. Now, all these are causes that have led to the same phenomena, that is exploitation and manipulation of ecosystem. Trade in wildlife, let's talk about it, which has led to extinction of species. Consequences of biodiversity loss can be as great as any disturbances to one species, or be extinction of species. So there are attempts to set up biosphere reserves in different parts of the country, and these biosphere reserves remind us that we cannot ignore the depletion of diversity in this process of human environment interface. Today, global environmental issues, just like any international agenda, cannot be solved at only state level. States require participation of civil society, of NGOs, of several other organizations, because issues in international relations are contested. They have positive as well as negative sides. This is why no one person or no one entity is sane enough to solve it, because plurality is a defining criteria of global politics now. So what we see in every nation today, NGOs are being involved to create awareness, and today there are debates on new laws in order to ensure sanctity and sanity of the environment. Biodiversity provides a variety of environmental species and ecosystems that are essential at the global, regional and local level. Today, environment is, along with biodiversity, facing a challenge of shortage of resources, because as the world acknowledges that loss of biodiversity contributes to global climate change, at the same time, one of the issues here is resources are scarce, less in supply as compared to our needs, and this shortage of resource also leads to new kind of politics in global affairs, that is North versus South. Now, forests are the main mechanisms for the conversion of toxic air into pure air, but this loss of forest cover is having multiple issues for us to think about. Who cuts the trees? For factories. Why cut it? Because they need land. Now, industrialization, urbanization, rise in population then once again becomes a vicious circle, causing major atmospheric changes, leading to increased temperatures, serious droughts in some part of the world, or unexpected floods in other areas. But we have to understand that this biological diversity is essential for preserving ecological processes. And this is why today, even in academia, to even in various perspectives on international relations, or be it be in active political process, the green agenda is significant. Let's look at Europe. There are existence of several green parties that contest elections and put forward their agenda. Let's look at United Nations. There are specialized bodies to look into the issues of air, water, soil and noise pollution, because we have to see that life supports and maintains together. It is never in isolation. So this is why when we see that food, clothing, housing, energy, medicines, what are these? These are all resources that are directly or indirectly linked to environment and biological diversity also. And this is why it is essential that we must respect the space for biological diversity, which intends also would combat our attempts, which in turn would combat environmental degradation. So what we see here is that today urban communities generally use greatest amount of goods and services, and these are all indirectly drawn from natural ecosystem. Therefore, it has become obvious that preservation of biological resources is essential for the well-being and the long-term survival of humankind. This diversity of living organisms is present in wilderness as well as in our crops and livestock. The need of the hour here is to give development a human face. Now, we don't say no to development, but rather put forward a new idea of development, that is sustainable development, because preservation of this biodiversity is integral to any strategy that aims at improving the quality of human life. Now, as the world becomes more populous, urbanized, prosperous, demand for food, water will rise. But the earth, we have to respect the fact, has a finite amount of natural resources that can satisfy it. Climate change, of course, is a long-standing term, but the biggest challenge and change that has come over the last few years has been this problem of shortage of resources and the impact this scarcity or limited resources which is having on us, not only as an economic problem but as a global environmental concern. We run into scarcity because our resources are scarce. We are a society with unlimited wants, and this basic economic problem, that is between what is limited and what is unlimited and limitness, leads to a situation which requires people to make decisions about how to allocate resources efficiently in order to satisfy basic needs and also as certain additional wants as possible. Environmental degradation decreases the overall amount of limited natural resources, decreasing the amount available to each individual. Environmental scarcity declines the availability of renewable natural resources too. So, now 3 ways by which this scarcity rises: demand-induced scarcity. Now, this demand-induced scarcity is linked to population. Supply-induced scarcity, this is related to environmental degradation, or structural scarcity because of unequal access to natural resources. So, what we see here is that in turn resources become inequitably distributed. So, all these tell us that environment is a comprehensive problem as well as opportunity for all of us to debate together. We have to understand that global environmental issues, from global warming to climate change to loss of biodiversity to resource scarcity, all these demand a holistic understanding. They are all related to each other. Secondly, they demand our attention towards how human beings have been interacting with the environment. Is this interface of exploitation or domination? Then definitely there is a big question mark on the existence of the earth. If this interface is about coexistence, then definitely need of the hour here is to understand environment in a broader perspective, where humans have to understand that we need environment, we need development, but not at the expense of exploitation or misuse and manipulation of our resources. So let's reuse, recycle, let's pave way for sustainable development as the mantra for the real solution of environmental issues in global politics. Because what is global is local, and what is local has a global connect. So what we see here is that today we have to get together to cater to environmental issues as a true service and duty towards our nature. We often demand rights from our society, but the need of the hour here is to factor in our duties towards preserving and saving environment. And with this, I hope that you all enjoyed this lecture on global environmental issues, issues which are all around us, yet they just demand a comprehensive analysis.
With this note, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for this wonderful lecture. Friends, we believe that you might have questions and you wish to give your feedback. Then feel free to write to us at info.cec@nic.in. This lecture is going to be uploaded on YouTube soon. So keep watching us, keep writing us. We are going to meet again soon. Till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you once again.